are joining us from across the world, welcome to Sports Africa. My name is Asalulu Afemi, of course. Of course, we are still reeling from the fallout of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. So much to talk about. We have a lot on our plate today for you, wherever you are. I hope you are having a nice time. Of course, we are in the final week of February. I hope some of your New Year resolutions are actually coming together at this time. James Agberebi joins me. Kado Gundare is a bit under the weather. James, you're welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Femi. Happy to be on today's edition.
Okay, all right. So it's going to be another crisscrossing for us on the continent of Africa. We'll be going to Algeria, we'll be going to Egypt, we'll be, of course, going to Nigeria and a couple of other places this morning. Okay, James, let's get started from Egypt or Nigeria, however we want to see it. Former Super Eagles striker Yakubu Aibeni said Mohamed Salah is not a world-class player. I don't know how you're going to see that because Liverpool's all-time goal scorer in the Premier League, 152 goals, as well as 41 goals in the UEFA Champions League. He's also Liverpool's all-time top scorer in the UEFA Champions League. Naegbeni said Salah has just been lucky with goals. I'll put a quote to you before I allow you to react to it. He said, Salah is not world-class in my opinion. He is not good with the ball, and the majority of his goals are lucky goals, according to TalkSport. James, I don't know how you want to see it, but what is your reaction if you're saying someone in the shape of Mohamed Salah, who has won the African Player of the Year twice, and he has set a number of records in the Premier League, and you think he's not world class?
I don't know where that is coming from. I don't know. That's too much of a disrespect. That is too much disrespect to one of Africa's greatest players. I mean, for somebody who left his homeland and is doing it outside the shores of Africa, and someone who has won the Premier League title. He helped Liverpool to win the Premier League title after over 30 years. Finished top scorer in the Premier League. When Ayegbeni was in the Premier League, I can't recall whether he ever emerged top scorer in the English Premier League. I doubt. He never did. So for me, like I said, it's I don't know where that is coming from. What led to this? I mean, you look at him like a talent. You said he's not world class. That he has been scoring lucky goals, and I don't know. Maybe he can come out and give us the main reason why he decided to come out and say this. For somebody who is known all over the world, who has achieved a lot, won the Champions League, won the Premier League, the UEFA Super Cup, FIFA Club World Cup. When you put his achievements side by side with Ayegbeni, I think that his own dwarfs whatever achievements Ayegbeni ever got in his playing career. So I mean, if you just always learn to respect people and not just come out and just say things because he feels he's a former footballer and whatever opinions he gives out, you stand. I mean, this one is total disrespect. You don't come out and disrespect a living legend. So for me, it's out of order. For me, it's wrong. So I try to find out the main reason why he feels Salah is not world class. I just from his reasons. I mean, it's just up to for me. So that's just it for me. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Because that opinion, according to Ayegbeni, he said that is his opinion anyway. Is not valid. Has actually been generating ripple effect even beyond Nigeria. Okay, James, let's talk about Riyad Mahrez because you and Kalbi, of course, and myself, we talked a lot about how his form has dipped since he left Manchester City for Saudi Arabia, of course, last summer. His wife, Taylor Ward, has been talking in an Amazon Prime video series titled Married to the Game. She said that she wasn't in support of Mahrez moving to Saudi Arabia. As a matter of fact, she said when Mahrez told him about the move, she broke down into tears. But when your husband secures £750,000 a week That's just in 7 days, 750. You can do the mathematics or the calculation in your local currency and tell me how much it is. When your husband secures that kind of a deal in a week, but she said she's still not down, though she's trying to cope with Saudi Arabia, trying to relax some of those very strict laws because of foreign footballers. But she said she was not in support of that. Would you say that could be the reason why Mahrez has not been his self? Because at least at Manchester City, though he might not be the key player, but we knew what his contribution usually were when he was there. But now, compared to now that he's with Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia, you know that the gap is wide.
Well, for me, Mahrez, he just like what you said, he wasn't the regular starter for Man City before he left, and they're going to Saudi Arabia. And you know why he went to Saudi Arabia? You know, it's like went there to collect his pension.
To win the Champions League,
You know, so for the wife, you know that was one thing about footballers. But anytime they change club sides, sometimes it has to do with the family for family reasons, and for in this case, I think it has to do with the culture. Maybe that was why the wife is finding it hard to settle down. You know, so it's a place where there are strict laws, and you can't just go there and do whatever you like. You know, so maybe that's part of the reason why she's finding it difficult to adapt there. You know, so and well, the husband has to work, so you have to bear with him. I don't see him staying too long in the Saudi league. Maybe after this season, he might end up coming back to Europe. You know, so that's just it. He has to earn the pay, and he's looking at the bag. You know that they normally call it. He's looking at the bag, and it's very important now. You know, because his legs are gone. You know, so even if he's going to come back to Europe, he's not going to play for any top side. So the wife should just bear with him. We've seen a lot of footballers who left particular club side because the family failed to settle down. Remember when Angel Di Maria went to Manchester United? You know, I think the wife came out to complain about the weather in Manchester, that it always rains, and so sometimes all these things crops up. So I see Mahrez coming back to Europe maybe after this season. We would have bagged a lot of cash to bring back to Europe. So for me, it's the most important thing. A lot of the guys who went to Saudi Arabia, a lot of them, I still see them coming back. Since apart from Ronaldo, who are we hearing again doing great things there? The likes of Firmino, Fabinho, man, we hardly hear about them, except Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo is the only one who really took this Saudi adventure very serious. I don't know, maybe because he is like the face of the league, so he has to do everything. So but in the case of the likes of Mahrez and for me, moving to Saudi Arabia, you know that your career is gradually winding down. So for me, that if Manchester City could allow him to leave, it shows that Guardiola believes that he has capable replacement, and we are seeing it. So
okay.
for me, that's just it. Yeah.
Yeah, but James, don't you think that even if Mahrez is performing in the other room, he's not performing on pitch? Because what would be at the back of his mind would be that his wife is not happy here. So I think for footballers, that has a way of affecting their output. And like you said, that was why some of them will say they want to leave a particular league or a particular country for family reasons. Do you think that could be one of the reasons why we're not even hearing about him at all in the Saudi professional football league, because perhaps the wife is piling pressure on him at home that I don't really like this environment?
Yeah, it could be. When the home is not settled, I mean, it will really affect you. No matter how hard you try to play it down, it will affect you, because that after the football game or training, you will still go back to that to your home. And when it's not a settled place and there's no peace there, it will definitely affect you. Apart from the fact that, to me, he has dropped in terms of I mean, he's not the Mahrez that we used to know. So I think, like I said, the wife should just bear with him. He's just there to cash out. So women, they always like to, whenever they find themselves, they always want to feel at home there. Once it's not not what they envisage. I mean, it tends to affect them. So I believe the wife is not finding funny there at all. It's not a place where you just think you can just go and just do as you like. There are so many laid down rules that you just have to follow. So just bear with him. He's still making the cash. It's for the benefit of the family. So you should just
Okay.
you know. So for me,
Okay.
like I said, it could be whatever is happening back home could be part of the reason why he's not really doing so well. Apart from the fact that he's not the Mahrez that we used to know. He's just there to just make whatever box he can make and head back to you.
Okay, of course, we saw that even at the 2023 AFCON, Mahrez didn't bring anything to the table for the Desert Foxes of Algeria. When you earn £750,000 every week, that's staggering. Okay, James, let's come down to West Africa. Of course, yesterday, the Super Falcons of Nigeria made it to the final Olympic qualifiers, and they will be playing the winner between Bayana of South Africa and Tanzania. But let's look at that game, James, against Cameroon. We've talked about a whole lot about the other countries that used to be dominant force in women's football in Africa. I talked about Equatorial Guinea, Cameroon, and Ghana. I'm sure even you and I, we talked about this yesterday while we're preparing for this program about how Equatorial Guinea denied Nigeria Olympic qualification a few years ago. They've completely fizzled out. James, yesterday, the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, the Lionesses of Cameroon, I should say, they showed that they can actually push one of the best teams on the continent to the limit because the Falcons only record a 1-0 victory scored by Esther Okonkwo.
Yeah, I expected the game to be a very tough one because you remember the first leg ended goalless. So the Cameroonians, all they needed was just a goal. So that was why the game was. Look, apart from the fact that the Falcons, they missed a couple of chances that would have killed off the game. Remember, even the first leg, they had 2 goals disallowed. So the tie would have been sorted out in the first leg. But the Cameroonians felt they still had a chance. So that was why the game was a bit tight. So I wasn't surprised. I mean, I didn't expect the Falcons to just overrun them. I mean, they've been around for a very long time, Cameroonians. So you can't just shove them aside. This is the same thing that stopped the Super Falcons from qualifying for the 2012 Olympics. They've been to the Olympics before, the Cameroonians. They've been to the World Cup. So they are not a small fry. When you talk of African women's football in Africa, they always come up. They always pop up. They played in the final of the WAFCON. So they've just been unlucky. The anytime they get to the final, it's always against the Falcons. So for me, it was a tough encounter, and kudos to the Super Falcons. It's one more step for them to end their long wait for appearance at the Olympic.
Yes.
Last time they did was in 2008 in Beijing. Which means they've gone three games have 3 Olympic games have come and gone, and they didn't participate. So it's a good step in the right direction, and it's a big one for them because I know that they're going to play against South Africa. The South Africans have put themselves in a good position against Tanzania. Though the game has not been played, they say they don't count your egg before they're ash, but I think this one has been ash laid and everything has been sorted out. Going away to win 3-0. So I don't see anything that the Tanzanians will do, in the reverse picture in South Africa. So for me, it's a game between Super Falcons and South Africa.
That is going to be a war between the Israelis and, of course, around the world. I'll wait to see how that actually pans out. James, still talking about women's football in Africa, let's talk about the Black Queens of Ghana. You remember, even yesterday, we talked about how the bad administration generally in terms of football management in Africa. Remember, we talked about why we treat women's football with so much inconsistency. Remember the Super Falcons at the last AFCON in Morocco. Remember the threat to boycott the top place game, I think against Zambia. Now, remember, of course, also the issue that we had with Bayana of South Africa. the kit that they were giving for the last World Cup was oversized. And of course, they had issue of cash that even CAF president, Patrice Motsepe, had to come in. Now, the Black Queens, James, they were paid their outstanding bonuses just like 24 hours before they faced the Copper Queens in this Olympic qualifier that took place last week in Accra. $7,500 was what they got. That is about 85,000 cedis. James, why do we do this? That bonus was they're supposed to have been paid since last year from 2024 AFCON qualifiers and of course for this same Olympic qualifiers. It wasn't until, according to reports, when those girls threatened that they were not going to play against Zambia that they were paid. And we saw that they even lost the game at home 1-0. So do you even think that the Black Queens are out because the return leg will be played tomorrow in Zambia? So do you think they are out already? And of course, also react to the issue of payments that we are used to just delaying on, I don't know, for what reason?
Before we used to think it's a Nigerian thing when it comes to this issue of allowances, bonuses, but I think it cuts across now. The other time it was the South African Banyana, African champions who had issues before they went for the World Cup. Now Cameroon, and we've been hearing things in other African countries. I mean, it's sad. It goes to show that the administrators don't care about the development of the game, or that it's like they are just about what they get from the teams. They don't care about the welfare of the players. So if this thing keeps happening, I mean, you just say there are people who are they are just there to just raking money, and they don't care about the welfare of the players. I mean, you have a key game like this, and if a team that is just gradually coming back, after being in the world, one of the toughest teams on the continent. Being proud to the game. I told you that the Black Stars, Black Queens, I give the game to them, but I mean, they lost 1-0 right there at home. So the distraction of the issue of the pain has already distracted them. You don't go into key game with such issues. I mean, you just going to show they shot themselves in the foot. You know that this qualifiers there. You know that these players will be paid. They should be paid whatever money that's due to them. They now left it till the day before the game because they threatened. So now the money now came out, which means the money had been there all along. It was just this act of wickedness from our football administrators. Now they are in a very precarious situation. It is very difficult for them to beat Zambia. Zambia is a very tough team. They've beaten the Super Falcons before. Very tough side, So I mean, they put themselves in this terrible situation. So I don't know. Maybe it has to do with something like maybe a lot of people have this idea that female football don't really rake in the millions. They don't attract the sponsorships. It's as if they're just doing charity for women's football, which is not supposed to be. So for me, it's a sad one, and something that needs to be looked into, because it can't continue like this. They do it to the men, we know, but the women, their own is even the worst, So they always have to fight with and nail, protest before they get whatever is due to them. So for me, they put themselves in this situation, and they have to try and see how they're going to come out of it, because that second leg in Zambia is going to be a very, very tough one for them, for the Copper Queens to go away in Ghana to win. I mean, this advantage that they've given themselves, it will be very, very difficult to allow this opportunity to slip off.
Okay, of course, in my decades of following football, whether in Africa or even across the world, I've never seen a time where you have officials of football federation, let's say NFF president, NFF vice president or secretary, protest that they've not been paid. I don't know why. They usually get their own monies, but when it comes to issue of payment of players, that's usually the issues. We just hope that one day Africa will stop this this stuff, because it's, for me, it constitutes an international disgrace, because of course the world is not a global village. Everybody knows what is happening everywhere. So James, I do not even know what Nara up to will be thinking about now about all the years of work that she's done with these ladies. Even after the game against Zambia, she was given a guard of honor by some of our players and some Ghanaians at the stadium, for you to know that they really appreciate what she's done with the Black Queens. But going to Zambia, like you said, I think it's going to be a tough one for them. James, let's talk about, of course, Tom Saintfiet. Remember that he left the Gambia job after the AFCON. Even at the AFCON, yeah, I think it was during the last game that the Gambia lost, he announced his resignation. According to reports, he was approached by Cameroon, Ghana, and Nigeria. But guess what? He had decided to be the new head coach of the Philippine national team. And according to him, he said, I quote, he said, I was in need of an ambitious project, a task. The Belgian said when he was asked why he decided to take this job and just ignore this other African job, you will have expected him to continue on the continent, being that, of course, he did an awesome job with the Gambia at the 2023 AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire. But James, Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, he said no, he prefers it to go to Southeast Asia or thereabout.
Philippines, I can't recall them having any pedigree when it comes to football. So I don't know. Maybe he has his reasons why he decided to go there. But I tell you, Femi, before we hear anything about Saintfiet, it's going to be a very, very long time. That's if you decide to still stick with the whatever project they are doing there. It's not a bad idea. Maybe they just needed somebody who come and help them to grow their football. But I know that Philippines, they are not a football playing nation. They are not up there when it comes to football. I think they are into other sports, but football is not among the top sports for them. So maybe they're just trying to look into that, and they needed somebody who they feel can.
That's right. They're looking for an ambitious project, right?
Yes. So I don't know if he's going to have the. I don't know how he's going to take it. Maybe whether he's going to stay long with them, or maybe something pops up and is off again. So for me, it's all the best to him. I pray that he stays long with them, because this kind of project, for me, I see it as a project. It's something that doesn't happen overnight. There will be a lot of downside to it. So I hope the fans will be patient enough, to see him through. Because they're going to collect a lot of bashing. Like I said, they are not a football playing nation, and I don't know how he's going to cope, because here in Africa, I know that he had a lot of quality teams to work with. So I don't think it's going to be the same thing with the Filipinos. But for me, it's a project, and he just has to bear with whatever negative result that comes along with it.
Yeah, even he was thoroughly criticized at the 2023 AFCON, and he lashed out at the Gambia media, because he said before he took over that job, the Gambia national team had not won a game for many years, or for some years. He came in and he turned things around and he qualified them for the AFCON. And I'm sure that was one of the things he wasn't happy with that made him throw in the towel. But James, the contest at which I think we should look at it is the fact that if you have someone, a Belgian, turning down the opportunity to work with Nigeria, with Ghana, with Cameroon, doesn't that say a lot about how we do our things? Let me even say in sub-Saharan Africa, because if it were Algeria or Tunisia or Egypt, I'm sure maybe we will have given it a second thought. But don't you think that says a lot about how Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon just do stuff? And I'm sure Saintfiet must have looked at it and said, no, I don't want to even put myself in this mess at all.
Yeah, it could be. He has stayed in Africa for a very long time, so I believe he has an idea of the mentality, the way we go about doing our things.
Exactly.
Owing cookies, mismanagement, disorganization. So I believe he knows all these things. He has been on the continent for a very long time. So he knows that even if he should get the job to handle one of those big teams, he's still going to have these issues. They know what happens in other countries, especially in Africa. They hear things, so nobody will want to pitch his tent with such setup. You want to work in a conducive environment where you're able to do your work, but a situation whereby you don't even know if you get your money as at when due, you always hear the issue of unpaid salaries and what have you. So I don't think it's not all coaches who want to be in that position, because they are here to work, and if they're not giving you that conducive environment, I mean, you're not going to give your best. Because when the result starts coming in and they are not favorable, it's the coach that always suffer. He's the one that always get all the criticism and everything. They hardly look at the administrators who for me, most of them, they play most of they are at fault in most of these things. So, all like I said, all the best to him. I hope that you're able to succeed in the Philippines, but it's going to be a very tough one, because I don't know of any Filipino footballer that is popular. I don't know, maybe Femi, for me, I don't know any of them. But since it's a project that they are looking at the next, let me say, 5 6 years. I mean, so if that's everybody with their own plan, so if that's what they are targeting, I mean, look at the last AFCON. That was full. That I think the CAF president said over 2 billion people watched the AFCON, and we had the opportunity of looking at a lot of exciting teams: Gambia, Equatorial Guinea, Namibia, Mauritania, exciting, explosive encounters. It goes to show that there are teams who are gradually coming up. Maybe that's what the Filipinos saw, and they loved it, and they want somebody who was part of that tournament to come and give them one or two things. So for me, maybe that's the reason. But like I said, all the best to him. I hope he'll be able to impact them positively.
Okay, all right. Before we go on, I think we need to send this huge support to Super Eagles assistant captain William Troost-Ekong. James, I'm sure yesterday news broke that will be out for maybe perhaps for the rest of the season after suffering an injury to his muscle. James, remember after the game against Cote d'Ivoire, I think he returned for the round of 16 against Angola with a white bandage strapped to his right thigh. And he played through the AFCON with injury, went on to become the most valuable player of the tournament, and also finished as the joint top scorer for Nigeria with 3 goals. And he also became the highest scoring defender in the history of AFCON. So this morning, William Troost-Ekong, we are sending this huge message of support to you on Sports Africa. I met him once, a very, very complete gentleman, very soft-spoken. So we wish you all the best in your quick recovery as well, so that you can return for your club, PAOK in Greece, and of course for Nigeria. James, maybe subsequently on Friday, we'll look at how the Tigers didn't even bring anything to the table at all. The first window of the AfroBasket qualifier that just ended in Tunisia. Of course, the second window will be taking place next year. So, sorry, time is not on our friend. We'll have loved to talk about that issue of maladministration, the lack of planning that we keep talking about on the show on the African continent across all sports, not only even in football. James Agrebi, thank you so much for your time on the show today. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Femi. See you in the next edition.
So our fans across the world, thank you once again for all your support. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and please don't forget to share our videos. Let us know what you think in the comment section, particularly on issues that we've raised. One for Ayegbeni saying that Mohamed Salah is not a world-class player. What do you think? Please let us know in the comment section. Thank you so much for your support. Don't forget to click on that notification button so that you get the video as soon as they are posted. Thank you. My name remains Ashalula. We'll see you all later in the week. Bye for now.